Today is September 29th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. Rammer, we have gone all year long, and we have finally reached the final off day of the 2022 regular season. And, it's so much has been made of the amount of meaningless games that Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, those guys have played in their Cardinal career when it comes to no postseason on the horizon. I think Yadi's number is something like 24 games. There was no chance of postseason play, but now we're here in the final 6 games of the year where, they're kind of meaningless games for the for the Cardinals outside of just getting sharp for the postseason.
And I think there's an importance to that. And while, we may lament those wasted days and wasted nights, if I may borrow from the great Freddie Fender, it's part of being a professional. And for fans who kind of lament that, think about if you were a Pirates fan or, one of those downtrodden clubs, whole careers are spent that way. So we're very lucky, and those players are very lucky. And they've created some of their own luck by being together and playing well and winning. So it all kind of wraps up together.
It does. And I saw this, I saw this stat, which you don't have to dig too deep to find it. But Albert Pujols in 2022 has made it to as many postseason appearances as Albert Pujols of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim has.
Oh, yeah, we knew that was going to be easy to surpass. and not just, and I won't say wasted, but the lost opportunity for postseason from a dysfunctional organization who the Angels I'm speaking of, that Artie Moreno really wanted to win and was doing what he thought was best to try and win.
He spent money.
And Trout, and at the end, Ohtani, and just – They couldn't get it right.
Yeah, Rendon. I mean, look at all of the pitching that they bought over the years. It wasn't for lack of trying. This wasn't, they didn't go into seasons and going, hey, we're gonna have to take one on the chin this year. No, they went out there and they did it.
Well, their draft and develop part of their organization just didn't deliver like they needed it to. Yeah, because he showed Artie Moreno that he'd be willing to go spend money to win. Mm-hmm. So if they would have just drafted and developed better players and more of them, the whole thing might be different.
I will say this. I think yesterday we saw a guy cement his role in the postseason as Jose Quintana went out there. And even though the Cardinals lost 5-1, it wasn't a game that you went out there and you expected them, or nor do they need to win. But Jose Quintana once again pitched outstanding, and he is going in one of your first 2 games next weekend.
Yeah. And then it becomes a matter of just kind of how you see the big picture. I like him one, and that way he can come back in game 2 in the second round on the road. I like him on the road there. And, but I got a feeling he may end up going game 2, and they may play it by ear after that.
It would not surprise me if they went Quintana, Michaelis, Montgomery. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's what I would do, but I think they may go Michaelis 1, have him come back. But if I have him go 2, then I have him back home again, game 3 of the second round, and I like that better. But it's going to just be a matter of taste, I think.
And there is something, I know performance-wise he hasn't lived up to it lately, but there is something about Adam Wainwright pitching at home in the postseason for the Cardinals that you kind of trust him. And you wonder if he's given one of those spots because of that. But if you're going based purely off performance, he doesn't get one of the 3.
Let's see what he does Sunday before we
and that'll be as emotional as one of those. I mean, putting him in there for that final game, for that final regular season home game on Sunday is going to be just as, it's going to be just as big of a moment, of an emotional ride for him as a playoff game would be. By the way, I do want to get this out there, and I'll probably mention it again tomorrow. For fans that have tickets to the game on Sunday, if you are one of the lucky ones that has that, just to let you know, that game time is 1:15. The Cardinals have announced they have sent out email, they have put it on all their socials. At 12:30, there will be a pregame ceremony to honor the careers of Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina before the game on Sunday at 12:30. So if you have tickets, get there and see it at 12:30. KMOX and Bally Sports will also be providing coverage of whatever it is they plan on doing for Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina before the game. So just a reminder to fans out there, whether you want to watch it or if you have tickets to the game, to get there early for that. Now let's talk, because this is what we're going to be doing now for the next few days here, is looking at the standings and looking who the Cardinals might be facing in those in that playoff game.
That's exactly
that
right.
Playoff weekend next weekend, because with that Brewers win yesterday, the Phillies lost again. The Phillies are continuing to struggle. The Milwaukee Brewers right now are a half game behind the Philadelphia Phillies for that third wild card. Right now, the Cubs and Phillies are playing each other, and in the second inning, it is Cubs 1, Phillies nothing in that matchup in Chicago.
Yeah, so it appears while San Diego only has a 2.5 game lead over Philadelphia, 3-game lead over Milwaukee, it appears that they're ready to cement that number 2 wild card spot, and they would, they get the unenviable task of playing either Atlanta or New York, and it looks like they'll be there. But it's still 3 teams for 2 spots.
Yep. Yeah, and the Padres have the White Sox. They have the Dodgers tonight. Then they have the White Sox this weekend at home, and then after that, I know they end the season. Yeah, at home against the Giants. So they are home for all their games. The Brewers are home for all of their games. The Phillies are on the road for all of their games. They are in DC this weekend. And I saw weather reports that there could be some unsavory weather making its way up the coastline due to Hurricane Ian. Right now, it could be up there on the Atlantic coast by this weekend. And then how about this, the final weekend of the season? I mean, I don't care if they have nothing to play for. They have the Astros. They're in Houston taking on the Astros for those final 3 games. Sorry? The Phillies. Yeah. So
they got a tough way to go. If you were going to bet today, you probably would bet Milwaukee goes past them.
Yeah, which I don't like. I don't, as much as I am not, the Brewers kind of fumbled the ball here the second half of the season. I still don't want to see a divisional opponent in a 3-game series. I don't want to see Corbin.
Yeah, they've done. That doesn't bother me. I think that if you play well at home, you can get 2 out of 3 from them. I'm comfortable with that. But in a 3-game series, the Nationals could beat the Dodgers in any 3-game series. So, that's why you play the games. There are no guarantees.
Yeah, so we will we'll follow that as we bring you the show here, the final week of the season. We will know 1 week from today, and there's only one off day too, by the way. So they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off day Thursday, and then they're right back at it on Friday for that weekend wild card.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, the wild card race is just as hot, actually hotter, in the American League. Toronto, Tampa, Seattle, all within 2 games of each other. Only 2 of the 3 are going to get in. Baltimore's 4.5. That's almost, not quite, but almost impossible for them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy over there too.
The big thing there is seeding for that. I mean, one of those teams. One of those teams get to play at home. Right now, it's Toronto. The Blue Jays would be the team to play at home. So. That is, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
So especially up there, especially up there for that. I know the Rays fans will show up in the postseason, but I don't know how much of a home field advantage that is in a wild card weekend. there in Tampa. So a lot of baseball left to be played. 6 more games for the Cardinals, all against the Pirates. Can Albert Pujols hit 15 home runs the next 6 games against the Pirates and pass Babe Ruth? I don't know. Something else to watch. These next.
Let me know how that goes.
But hey, fun baseball, October baseball, for next week, always a fun time. Rammer, I know you have to get down to Billikens basketball practice. Just a reminder, hey, 2-man game with Bob Ramsey and Matt Rocchio coming back for another season here. A lot of SLU and NBA talk coming up with that in the next probably month or so, I would imagine. I don't know your schedule on that, but I would imagine October is a time to start talking hoops.
I imagine it'll come pretty soon in the next week or two, sort of preseason preview for both the NBA and college. And then, then we'll take it as it comes until we're ready for the seasons to start.
And not to mention, you'll have that, and you also have your weekly episodes with Dr. Rick, the Dr. Rick podcast here on Claibs Online as well.
Subtitled How to Raise an Athlete. It's really, really good stuff. A brilliant guy, brilliant doctor. So I hope people get in the habit of tuning in to the Dr. Rick podcast. And
also too, as we just run down all of the content that we have here.
From our roots in St. Louis, Royal Banks of Missouri is branching out to continue serving you with our locations in St. Charles, Jerseyville, Granite City, and now in Hannibal, Center, and New London. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank in your community.